Hey, and welcome back to Vita vs 3DS. In this installment, we're going to review Gravity Rush, one of the most anticipated Vita titles this year. The three categories that we are going to score Gravity Rush on are graphics, sound, and gameplay. I feel that for the action-adventure genre, such as Gravity Rush and other titles, these categories are going to be sufficient. Although other categories are indeed important, such as the story, for example in RPGs, an action-adventure game can still have a mediocre story and be great, while other RPGs cannot largely for the most part. Each category will be scored out of 10, and then a final score, which is not an average, will be given at the end of the review. Visually, Gravity Rush is one of the most unique and impressive looking titles on the PlayStation Vita. The cel-shaded graphics are phenomenal, and some of the best I've seen in the action-adventure genre, and they go perfectly with the art direction of the game. Kat's character model is very well animated. She runs, floats, and falls very fluidly, which makes the game feel more natural than the stiff animations we've become accustomed to in most Japanese games. The environment is also stunning to look at, and are somewhat interactive as many objects in the world are destructible. Cities are well populated, and the citizens react to what Kat is doing around her, which is often more funny than anything else. Gravity Rush, for the most part, takes place in different areas of a major city, but each part of the city has its own visual flair and looks great. There are some other non-city areas later in the game which are very visually unique and fantastic looking. It's these areas that really show off how beautiful the game is. There are some downsides to the visuals, however. Like many Vita games, Gravity Rush runs at far below Vita's native resolution. Vita's native resolution is 544p, while Gravity Rush is roughly 56% of that. This makes the graphics appear somewhat pixelated on the Vita screen, and if you're looking close, very pixelated in screenshots. But, as many of you who've already played the game know, it's not that much of a big deal on the Vita screen itself. Another downside to the visuals is the draw distance. For an open world game, it's rather short. That said, I felt myself relatively unaffected by it because of the artistic way they dealt with it. Objects and buildings far out in the distance have a penciled-in look to them when they haven't been fully rendered, and they gradually become more detailed as you get closer. So the game tried, and succeeded in my case, of turning a technical downside into an artistic effect. Overall, the graphics are definitely among the best on the system, and I give them a 9.5 out of 10. The music in Gravity Rush is very comparable to what you'd hear in a classic anime movie, which fits the style and feel of the game perfectly. Just like each area of the city has its own unique look, each area of the city also has its own unique music, which sets the tone of the area very well. Personally, however, I feel the music to be somewhat annoying and repetitive. The main battle theme plays for about 90% of the battles in the game, which makes you get very tired of it quickly. It also feels strange experiencing a sad or tense moment in the game, only to go back wandering around the city with the same upbeat music. The characters in this game do not speak any intelligible languages, just gibberish akin to what you'd hear in a Sims game. Personally, I wasn't bothered by this too much, but I think the game would have benefited greatly from some actual voice acting. I feel this would have helped flesh out the other characters some more. Overall, the sound doesn't impress me as much as the visuals do, and it gets a 6 out of 10. As you could probably tell by this point in the video, Gravity Rush is an open-world sandbox type of game. The world is quite large, definitely larger than any other handheld game I've ever played, but it doesn't feel too large because of the speed at which you can travel through it. The main mechanic of Gravity Rush, which is shifting gravity, is the best part of this game. At the press of a button you can stop gravity for Kat and anyone in her general vicinity. From here, you can either use the motion controls or the right analog stick to aim you in a direction, and then press the button again to make gravity shift in that direction, causing Kat to fall that way. This means that locomotion in this game is super fast, fun, and great. I had more fun doing this than flying in most games, and it's truly a unique mechanic. Combat is a mix of simple one-button ground fighting and mid-air homing kicks. You can also telekinetically throw things at your adversaries. The combat in this game has been getting a lot of flack in the media, but it's clear that the flack it's been getting is not because the game is inherently bad, but simply because it fails to impress. I feel the combat in this game could have been much deeper than it is, and definitely the game would have benefited from it being much deeper, but it gets the job done. While the enemy design leaves a little bit to be desired aesthetically, there is a good variety of them gameplay-wise. The game has many side missions, which are a mix of freestyle races, ground races, or specific combat events with certain limitations. These are fun and great to do, especially if you only have a minute or two while on the road. There are bronze, silver, and gold times you can strive for, but when you beat them all, you can compete against people online through the online leaderboards. My main problem with Gravity Rush isn't the graphics, the sound, or the mechanics, it's the missions. Like many open world games, they are very repetitive and make you do the same things over and over again in different areas of the city. The game simply feels like an awesome mechanic, with a game hurriedly slapped together on top of it. That said, the mechanic of traveling around and platforming is so good that you'll keep playing because of it, not because of the missions, and not because of the story. Overall, the gameplay gets an 8 out of 10. Many people thought that Gravity Rush would be the title to legitimize owning a Vita. But while there is much fun to be had with this title, and I would recommend it wholeheartedly, it isn't without its fair share of flaws, many of them which can ruin the experience for some gamers. But if you feel that these shortcomings wouldn't greatly affect your experience, do not hesitate to pick up Gravity Rush. It's a fun, unique title and these games need to be supported. Overall, I'm giving Gravity Rush an 8 out of 10.